Hi guys, welcome to Adobe After Effects CC, the complete course from novice to expert. I'm truly very excited to have you in this course and start you on the journey for you to become the motion graphics and visual effects expert you want to be. So join me and let's discover what this course is all about. I made it easy for you to begin animating almost immediately. You will start creating your first animation in the first section. I don't believe there is a need to learn all the theories and boring stuff before doing something exciting. The second section, you will dive in to create your full motion graphics video using text and shape animations. I will guide you step by step for you to learn the 3 stages to creating a full motion project. In the next 3 sections, you will learn almost all the motion techniques and methods to set you on track to start expanding your skills to create complex animations and start using visual effects. I don't know you personally, but I'm sure you can and will acquire amazing skills to create awesome videos. After these 4 sections, you will start digging in specialized topics such as 3D, complex and compound shapes, per character animations, expressions and infographics, time games with videos and graphics, blending modes, puppeteering, lots of presets, motion tracking, camera tracking, and much more. By the end of the course, you will be able to create a much better video than the one you are watching now. You will have a great learning experience in this course, I promise. Now that you are ready to go from novice to expert, let's dive in. Hi guys, there is a small preference I would like you to set before you continue with the course. It's important you set it so your animations and your movement will come out exactly like I'm doing. So I would like you to go to Edit. If you are on the Mac, go to File and you will find Preferences. Click on General. From Preferences, find General. You will come to a very big dialog box. What is important for you is the first one here, Default Spatial Interpolation to Linear. Make sure you have ticked it. When you set it to Default Spatial Interpolation to Linear, don't worry about what it means for now. You will be doing animations exactly like I will be doing and demonstrating to you. Thanks very much. Please come and set it, and I will see you in the next lecture. Hi guys, this is live with you from aeschoolonline.com. This course is all about After Effects. It's about motion graphics, visual effects, compositing, putting them all together, putting all the effects together and coming up with awesome videos. I really want you to get the utmost benefit from this course. If you have any questions, post them in the Q&A section of this course, of the dashboard. I'll be there. I will answer them all. I'll be very ready to help you to become the expert you want to become. I know that some instructors will just throw a course online, forget about it. No, I want to take care of you. I want to be with you, and I want you to take the utmost benefit. So please post your questions, send me messages. Don't worry, I have time. I only do After Effects. You know guys, when you're learning a software such as After Effects that is big, complicated and has so many details, you really don't want to start learning all the details, all the teeny tiny bits, so you can start creating at least your first animation. I find it boring. What you want to do now is to jump in, to start creating your first animation. I know maybe you don't know anything. It really doesn't matter. Just be with me, jump in, and let's create your first animation to give you the courage, the power, and an entertainment to start creating great animations. See you then. In this lecture, we are going to create a crash animation. We are going to build a simple animation together. To create an animation in After Effects, you need to create a composition. A composition, you would say, is a container that will have all your layers and the animations that you want on your layers. To create a new composition, just come to this button here, click, and you are given the composition setting and creation dialog box. You can come over here and give it a name. For example, first animation. And from the preset here, I would like you to choose HDTV 720 by 25. This is pretty good for motion graphics. It will give you a composition, or later on you will make a video that is 1280 pixel by 720 pixels. That's what we call 720p. Keep the time at 5 seconds. To have 5 seconds here, write 500 and choose your background. You can choose any color in your background the way you want. I would choose that color, is okay for me. Click OK, and you have created your first composition where you will start putting your text and start animating. That is the composition panel, or the composition viewer panel. Also, in your project panel, you have created your first composition, and in the timeline, your first animation appears. Let's start adding some text. You can come to the toolbar here and click on the T for tool type, and come to your composition viewer and click inside and simply start writing motion graphics, for example. You can choose or select your selection tool and click and drag your text wherever you want it on the screen. You have here a panel that is the character panel. If you have it, just click on it and you will see a lot of information, a lot of changes you can do to your text. For example, to make it bigger or smaller. If you don't have the character panel, come to your window here and you will find character here and click it. It will appear on this side and you can manipulate a bit. Now, if your characters are okay in the composition viewer, that's very fine, leave it that way. We come here in the timeline. In the timeline, we see our text layer being listed. We have our timeline indicator. We see our time indicator here. We are now positioned at 0 second, and the seconds are here. If you move your timeline indicator, you will find that it's moving in time for this layer or for the whole timeline. In your layer here, just scroll down the small arrow here, you will find text and transform. Let's turn down transform and find that you have very many animations that you can do, in total 5 of them, and these are really many. To create an animation or to start an animation, you click on the stopwatch for what you want to animate. For example, let's animate the scale. So click on the stopwatch and a keyframe is created for you. So that small diamond here is called a keyframe. A keyframe means that at this time, that is 0, put the scale of this layer. Of course, we are in this layer here. I'm scrolling up and down with the mouse. Put it at 100. You can change this value. You can click on it and type 0, and the value changes to 0. Of course, now we don't see anything because the scale is 0. Let's move the time to 1 second. So I take the timeline indicator and move it to 1 second. I can come and change the value of the scale to, for example, 100. It will create another keyframe here, and that keyframe means at this time, which is 1 second, make the scale 100%. If you click and hold your timeline indicator and scrub through, you notice and you get a feel of your animation. To preview your animation, you come to the preview panel. Of course, if it opens very big, you can just stretch it down. You need only this line. If it doesn't show at all, come to window and you have preview here. Just make sure it's ticked and it will appear on your right side here. So in the preview here, we can just press the play button and we have our animation. This is your first animation. After Effects will go from time 0 to time 5, that's 5 seconds, and will show you your animation. Now you have created 2 keyframes, one at 0% for the scale and the second one is at 100%. And After Effects will do the rest. It will take the scale from 0 to 100% in between these 2 keyframes. Let's create more. You come to the text, click on text and click in your composition viewer and you can start writing new text. For example, it's fun. Then you can choose your selection tool, move it around, wherever you want to put it. If you click and drag the layer, you notice now a new layer has been created for you with the text it's fun. If you scroll down also the arrow, you will find text and transform. You can now use, for example, opacity. So you position your timeline indicator on the second keyframe, for example. You can also position it anywhere. Let's put it here and keyframe the opacity to start the animation by using the stopwatch. A keyframe is created for you. You really don't care about the technical aspect of a keyframe for now. I will explain this very much in details later on. And put the opacity to 0. In short, that keyframe means at this time, which is 1 second, make the opacity 0%. Let's go to 2 seconds and we change the value of the opacity. Let's make it 100. So that keyframe means at this time, 2 seconds, make opacity 100. So After Effects will do the interpolation or the interpretation of the animation between 1 second and 2 seconds. If you drag your timeline indicator to the beginning and scrub through, you will notice your animation and you can have a good feel of it, what is happening here. So you notice it's coming and the other one is coming. Let's scroll up and see exactly all our layers. That's the 2 layers we have created. We can come to preview and press the play button and see our animation. Here you are, you created your first animation, and it's important that you start doing that because there is no need to learn every single detail in all the options that you have here to be able to create your first animation. It's also important to get a feel of the program, to see exactly what you can do and to see exactly what makes you happy, what kind of animations you want to create. You notice here we have many transformations. The same style I used here, click on the stopwatch first, then click and change the value. You will be able to use the position, the rotation, or any other transformation that you want here, including of the anchor point. Now, what I would like you to do is go to After Effects and try this. It's important that you get familiar with the program. Though you don't know all the details, it's not important. You need to start learning about, okay, how does this thing work? If you do that and you play a bit, the next lectures and the next sections will become much easier for you. If you want to start with the big explanations, then you will get bored and you will not start this course at all. So this is my proposal to you. I've been working on software for, I don't know, 30 years now. And I know that it is very boring to go into the details before doing something, something small. So go ahead, this is your chance. Create your first animation and make sure that you are, having fun. I must warn you, motion graphics is about fun. It is not serious. You need to have fun in your heart. You need to be able to imagine and to create something original. And you need to focus and start learning these small methods, the small tips and the big methods also, and the big techniques to create fantastic animations. I leave it to you. Please go ahead, go to After Effects and start manipulating, and I will see you in the next lecture. Hi guys. I know that many instructors and in many courses you will not be introduced to any effects until the middle or 80% of the course. Well, we want to change that. I will introduce you to one simple effect that I would like you to create an animation with. It's a very important effect, very much used, but yet it's so simple and so interesting to use. So let's dive in and start your first visual effect with text. Hi guys, and welcome to your first effect. The purpose of this lecture is not only to show you the effect, but to show you how effects work in After Effects. They are pretty simple. As soon as you get the concept, a bit at least, you will be able to play with all the effects that After Effects has. Just a word of warning, not all effects will work with you. Some of them will be hard to play with and hard to apply, and some of them you will not see anything on the screen. And some of them will require solid layers and other kind of layers. Fine. So let's start. The first thing we want, like we said in the previous lecture, is a composition. Just come to the bottom here and click create a new composition. Now we want the same parameters. We are going to put a name, let's say visual. For visual effects, let's write effects is okay. And choose also HDDV 720 by 25. You can come to the menu if you don't have it and choose it over here. And it will give us a composition of 1280 by 720. That's fine. The frame rate you can care less, but the duration here, make sure you type 500. Let's leave the background color to black. Cool. We click OK, and here you are, we have our first composition. And we notice that a composition here has been created. It's called visual effects. Cool. We want now to put some text. Come to the T here in your toolbar. Okay, you click on it, and then you come to in the middle of your composition somewhere. You click, and let's write visual. Choose your selection tool. If you notice the character panel has opened, it should open with you. So what I would like you to do, if you have a different font, please make it uppercase or all caps and make it bold. We need that. Then you can make it big and small the way you want by doing like this. Let me show you. You come to the TT here, that's the font size, and your cursor will turn into a small hand with a finger up and 2 arrows. You click on it and you can scrub up or down. You're just scrubbing and you will get the size the way you want. Fine. Now we have put the size. What we want to do is to put the effects. Now come to Window and go to Effects and Presets. Click on it. Make sure it is ticked. If it's already ticked, you will see here the effects and preset. Now there are so many effects and presets here that it's impossible to know what is what for now. Later on, you will become very familiar with this. Come to the search here, just click inside and write ball. And you will find all the presets and the effects that have a ball inside them, inside the name. What we want is simulation CC ball. Click on it. Now you can click and drag. You can either drop it on the layer inside the composition viewer, or come to your layer inside the timeline here and drop it. I want to drop it here. It is nicer. You notice how it made a square around and 2 bars to show you that this is the layer where you are going to put your effects. So let's release the mouse, and the effect immediately takes effect. That's good. Now what happened exactly? You notice that visual here, nothing changed. I don't see anything in my layer, but a panel has opened. This is the effect controls panel. It's here opening on the layer called visual. If you click on it, you can see the layer visual down there. And then it's visual effects and it's a layer visual. Fine. Now you have the name of the effect here, and you have several parameters like scatter, rotation, ball size, and so on. Most of them have stopwatches. When you see a stopwatch, it means you can keyframe. It means you can have an animation. Before we start animating, let's look at these parameters. Now, most of the effects are the same. You have the name of the effect, and then you have parameters. Sometimes you have group of parameters. It gets complicated. This is a very simple one. Let's look at scatter. I can come and click when the mouse has become a hand with double arrows. I click and scrub it to the right or to the left. And you notice what's happening. You can see the effect, exactly what is happening to the effect. Cool. That's about scatter. If I want to reset it, all I have to do is to point at the parameter, in this case scatter, right click and say reset. It goes back to its initial value when you dropped the effect on the layer. Now we have rotation axis. This is a choice here. Let's leave it to x-axis. We have rotation. And to rotate here you have the full rotation. The first one, 0 times, are the full rotations. And here the 0.0 degree is the angle that you want to have. If I click and scrub through, you notice you are working already in 3D, and that is pretty amazing already. See how you can even create an animation, comes from here to here and things like this. I will right click and say reset. Let's look at the twist property. Also, you have some choices here you can make. Nevertheless, let's keep it on x-axis. Then you have the twist angle, full rotations, and the degrees here. I can click and write, for example, 90 degrees. Here you are, I have a twist. More interesting, if I click and drag, I notice how it is twisting the layer very nicely. That will be a nice animation. Comes from here to here, for example. Notice how I'm scrubbing left and right, and it's changing the values. I want to reset it. I right click and say reset. So now together we are, exploring this effect, and that's what you should do. Sometimes you get nothing. Be careful. Now there is the grid spacing here. If I take it up, I notice that it's giving me some funny big balls, and it's quite nice, by the way. If you start from here, go to here, actually at 0 is normal. Let's put this one at 3. Cool. So you put it at 3. What I did is to click on it and type 3. Now the ball size, that's gonna be interesting. If I click and scrub down, so the value is down, now actually I'm having something pretty interesting here. That is cool. Fine, this is very beautiful. Now, you already have a visual effect or an effect on your text. There was no need to do much. Just take the CC ball, drop it in, change the value of grid spacing and ball size, and here you are, you have something amazing. Let's create an animation. Let's go to 1 second. You click on your current time indicator and you drag to 1 second. It will really snap a bit. You will see 1 second here. Let's take the scatter and take it to the maximum. Now it's gonna go very big. I can click in and write 1000. So it has scattered totally. Now I will click on the stopwatch. Unfortunately, when you click on the stopwatch, it will not show anything in your timeline. What you have to do for the effects, come to your timeline, click on the layer and press the U key. And here you are, you can start seeing your keyframes. The keyframe has been created here when I clicked on the stopwatch where the timeline indicator was. I click on the timeline indicator, drag it to the beginning, come to scatter and put it back to 0. So now to run our animation and see our work, we can come to preview and click on the play stop, or we can press spacebar and it will play. I will press spacebar. And here you are, you have a very nice animation. Of course, it's a very simple animation, but it will give you a notion of how visual effects work. Let's press the spacebar again and have some fun. Here you are. Of course, you can come and change the color of the text. You go to character, you change it to, for example, blue. And your animation is still running and the colors have changed. Cool, that's wonderful. If I come to the keyframe here and try to change the value of the grid spacing, for example, and run my animation, it's always the same. Beautiful. So what I would like you to do is to go to After Effects, pick CC ball from the effects and presets and drop it on your text layer. You can drop it on a shape layer if you'd like. It will have the same effect and nicer. And come and mess up with all these parameters. The purpose of this is for you to, get somehow familiar with the effects. So an effect is applied to a layer, and then the effect itself has several parameters. Some of them can be keyframed, in our case all of them, and some of them will not be able to keyframe. They are just a choice. And then you can create an animation using the keyframe like we have seen in this lecture and the lecture before, or a couple of lectures before. So thank you very much for listening. This was an introduction about visual effects. It's very interesting. I encourage you to come and play with CC ball action and then return to the course and we continue together. See you in the next lecture. Hi guys, and welcome to your first challenge. It's a practice challenge. The intention here is to get you used to the program and to get you used to After Effects, keyframes, and something like this. This being your first challenge, I really don't want you to start, working so hard on this animation, but yet to open After Effects and start doing something. Even if it doesn't work with you, it's okay. As long as you have tried, for me, this practical challenge is done. Now, I will show you here the animation I would like you to do, and then in the next lecture, I will show you how to create it. Let's play the animation, and you notice that the text will come from outside. Here it started, and to the inside of the composition. It's pretty simple. So the text comes from outside the comp. You can see the text outside, and then after 1 second, it settles in the middle of the composition. I'll give you a few pointers. First of all, your text can be moved if you click and drag anywhere in the space that you have for your composition. right? Not only inside the black one. If you come to the magnification ratio here, you can look at it at 25%, for example, and you can see you can put your text anywhere, very far or very near. Fine, this is the first pointer. The second pointer is, if you scroll down, you will find transform, and if you scroll down the transform, you will find a position. To start an animation, you click on the stopwatch, and then you can start changing how the text is positioned, and new keyframes will be created if you move in the timeline. I won't give you more than that. Then this is the animation we want to create. Fine. And I will see you in the next lecture, and I will explain to you how to do this simple animation. So please, it's very important that you work on it just to come to After Effects and try to make the best of what you know until now. It doesn't matter if you achieve it. If you don't achieve it and you started After Effects and you tried to do it, that's enough for now. See you in the next lecture. Hi guys, and welcome to this third lecture or something like this. Now, in the previous lecture, I asked you to do this animation as a challenge or as a practice. It might look simple, but I know for you there are many things you don't know. Let's make it as easy as possible just to start you up in this program, just to make sure that you can achieve what you want, and to prove to yourself and to me and to the audience that you will have when you upload your movies that you can do it. Cool. So how to create this animation? Let's stop. Let's click on the timeline here and we stop the animation. Okay, if you remember, you need to create your first composition. So I click on this small button here. I have a composition. You can give it a name, my first. Of course, all these will be explained later on in the course in meticulous details. So I click OK. So I have my new composition here called first. I have nothing inside. To put text, you go to the T here, horizontal type tool, you click on it, you come inside your composition, just click anywhere you want and say animating. You can say anything you want, is no big deal, any text can do. Fine. And then you can click and drag it and put it anywhere that you like. Let's say put it here. And now let's create another text under it. We say in After Effects. So I hope you have chosen a text that's very good. Fine. Also, I can click and drag and put it anywhere I want. Cool. Now I want to use the position. If you notice, the text is moving around in the composition, so it is the position. If I scroll down the in After Effects here, I can find text and transform, and here is the position. Fine. So to start an animation, you click on the stopwatch. It will create a keyframe. You already knew that. And you don't want your text to be in this position at the beginning. You want to click and drag it out. So you put it, for example, over here. Then you come to 1 second and click on your text and put it on this side. If you press Shift, it will move in a straight line. So now you have your animation coming from outside to the inside. Let's do the same for animating. I will twirl down. You twirl down, you open transform, you keyframe the position. Now this is very good. It's good to keyframe it here because now it's already set. And you come to the beginning, you click, and maybe you want to press Shift so it goes in a straight line. And here you are. If you play, you have your animation. So actually it's pretty easy, provided that you know the concepts. If you understand the concept of the keyframes and you understand the concept of the timeline, it's pretty easy to do some simple animation. Now, I hope you went and you tried this. If you are very new to After Effects, then this is a perfect practice for the first time. Of course, I advise you to come in the beginning, put the keyframe, the scale, make it 0 like we have done before, and move to the next keyframe. For example, make it 120. Okay, you see, I clicked and dragged here. You notice, and you can do it like this, and here you are just animating very nicely. So thanks very much. I hope you have done this practice, and if not, come back and try to do it again and try to manipulate all these transformations. Don't worry about it. If you make mistakes, if you get confused, just delete everything and start over again. I'll see you in the next lecture. Hi guys, in this lecture I want to answer the simple question about the timeline that is appearing sometimes as frames and seconds and sometimes as seconds. I recorded the course using 720p because it was good at the time, and most students will use the resolution of 1366 and not 1920 or higher. So I recorded on 720 and it was very good for streaming. But now the timeline will appear as 0, 1, 2, and 3 seconds. Some of you have very high resolution and the timeline is not appearing that way. If you are on a high resolution, it's supposed to be looking just like this. And you notice now the timeline has changed a bit where you have frames and seconds. So 0.5 frame, 10 frame, or something like this. Maybe there is 00 and 0100F. This is 1 second. So if you want to work on high resolution, this is the timeline that's supposed to appear. If you want to follow with me and make a low resolution timeline or make it like it's a low resolution, just come to the source name here and you have a vertical bar. Click on it and drag it. So at certain point it will be 0, 1, 2, 3. Now I'm working on 1920 by 1080. But you know very well that working like this is not nice. The professional way to work is just like this. You can see the frames and you can see the seconds. During the course, I will refer to frames and I will jump to frames and I will also do seconds. In the beginning of the course, it's only seconds. So please, guys, if you have a timeline displayed like this, it just means you are on high resolution, and that's all. Your timeline is okay. And my advice to you, please guys, that you get used that this is 1 second, this is 2 seconds, this is 3 seconds. You notice how it is. And this is 1 second, and over here is 1 second and 5 frames. 1 second and 10 frames. So get used to that. It's much better, it's much more professional. This is the way to work. If you don't have a high resolution monitor, you will be able to see only seconds. And look how I'm adjusting it here. I can make the name a bit smaller so I can see the source name and it will display something like high resolution. So I hope we are together on this one. Just make sure if you have a high resolution, please do me a favor, just get used to this kind of timeline. It is much better. Thanks very much, and I hope this was a good explanation. I'll see you in the next lecture.